And today we're going to be looking at a scenario where Eastern and Western Europe go to war. Let's get into it. This is Eastern versus Western Europe. Yeah, let's get into it. Firstly, we're going to be starting because over in Austria, Western European troops are going to be pushing into the Austrian area, and will quickly be able to take out Austria, which is not so good. Hopefully, no, they're also pushing to Czechia as well. But there is Eastern European troops from Russia pushing into Germany a tiny bit up in the north. When we get to Norway, it's not very good. Or at least not going very good for them, as they sort of, lose their panhandle. And the Precious Islands. I think that's a Slavlabad island, I think? Yeah. The Western European navies will be going in here, and will be taking over this territory. So as the navies will be clashing up in the Baltic Sea, and the Western European Navy so far is doing very well. Thanks to you, Britain. Yeah, you have a very strong navy, and they will be able to push up and get to the coast of this island, which is not very good for the Eastern Europeans. But the navies of the other countries, not mainly Russia, but mainly like Finland and Sweden, will be able to make a spearhead here and cut this off, which is very bad. Yeah, they will still be able to take this island, but a bad thing for them is what I was saying is they're going to be able to make a big naval landing around here, or at least a big naval pocket here, which is not so good for the Eastern European, as this is a major island and they may use it to fight back against this navy here. Time to go down here to the Adriatic. The Italian Navy is going to be doing very well against the Baltic Navy. Because this is just a European scenario, Turkey won't count. So the Russian Navy in the Black Sea can't go through here to get to Greece. So fights and naval battles here will be just purely the countries that have their navies here. Yeah. And because of this, the Italian, French, and Spanish and Portuguese navies will be going down here and taking this area, which is pretty easy to take the Balkan area, but they will still be having trouble in the Greek area, as they will have a push into the Greece area navy. So basically the entire Baltic front is just the Greek navy within the navies, yeah. But they will be able to make a big puncture in this area, and will be able to start an invasion of the Italian peninsula. And unlike any other scenarios, Italy won't surrender. Yeah, they'll just be continuing, because Western Europe will probably lose if Italy surrendered, which they aren't going to. The Germans, other countries are still going to be pushing back greatly in the Balkans, but in Germany they're not doing so well, as Poland knows what happens, especially when they're invaded by Germany, and Berlin is taken somehow. Yeah. And this will cause the Baltic Navy to take this area, which is very bad for the Western Europeans. And this thing here is still very not so good for the Eastern Europeans, as this thing will expand so greatly it'll make a huge puncture. So the Russian Navy and the Baltic navies and the Finnish Navy and the Swedish Navy and the Polish Navy and the Kaliningrad Navy, or just all the navies of the Baltic basically, are going to be focusing on this. And eventually they will be able to make full naval domination and eventually recapture this island. That's a lot of troops gone. But also they're doing very well in the Norwegian area on land, as they will be able to take it. Yeah. And so far it feels like could go either way for either side, as the Italians will be making many landings on the Baltic and Balkan areas, and they will be taking over huge parts like Bosnia and Croatia, but they won't be able to puncture into Serbia as much as they would like. The Greek armies are mostly within Italy, trying to maybe get some revenge for World War II. even though they didn't do too much. But the rest of the troops, like maybe some Germanic troops, are going down here into Greece, taking North Macedonia, and the Greeks have to take some of their troops back. Which, yeah, wait, what? As all of this area here will basically just become, well, Italian. And why did my navy disappear on the navy map? But, oh my goodness, no, I keep putting it on the wrong layer. But the Italian navy will be able to push the Greek navy back greatly, as Greece is, well, lost all their navy. And then with this happening, the Germans, no, not the Germans, the Western Europeans will be able to go ahead and take Greece. Just not this panhandle thing, though. Actually, they do, and now they're starting an operation to get to the Black Sea. Yeah. So far, it seems like the Eastern Europeans may be winning, especially in the north, where they're puncturing into Germany greatly, as they would be able to surrender, force northern Germany to surrender, and Denmark is surrounded. They also go ahead and take the Dutch. This is a majority Russian troops, by the way, and none of you are here, Mr. America. You aren't here. But the navies, or Poland, is able to take over a bunch of this area, as well, Denmark is completely surrounded, and the navies of this area still will be able to push all the way back out of this area. Let me get, yeah, there. And so far it looks like the East may win this war, until the almighty great British Navy will be sending its navy out, and it will be able to puncture into this area greatly, as they will be reaching the coast, and they start doing hefty damage on this area as they will be taking all it. And then they make huge landings in Denmark, and eventually, if I can get on the right layer, we'll be able to take all this area. And then the French had enough. They do not want the Polish here, as they will be able to take all this area and push Poland out of Germany. Yeah. The operation to get in the Black Sea has gone successful, as Bulgaria is surrendering and Serbia will fall. Yeah. And then naval boats are landed. As, yeah. The boats will be landed here. As, yeah, I've been getting texts from my only friend. Yeah. As the Western Europeans will be able to make a huge puncture and, completely destroy the navy of the Russians. Yeah. As Russia is mainly focused on protecting this. Oh wait. Russia's navy is destroyed, so how can they protect it? Oh wait. The Western Europeans are absolutely destroying the Baltics when it comes to navy. As, well, all of the entire navies of the Western Europeans are just completely Eastern Europeans are completely destroyed. And with this, massive naval landings are taking place. Yeah, it's not going very well for the Eastern Europeans at all, as Crimea is taken. Yeah, but they will still be able to, I don't know how you're holding on to that island. Yeah, I'll get Crimean invasion, wrong layer. I guess I won't worry about the Navy anymore, as this island is taken, and some other islands are taken. But the Eastern Europeans are good at their defenses, so they will be defending for a while. And some small gains will be made in Hungary, and then the Western Europeans plow through this area. Yeah, as these countries here will be being destroyed, and a massive operation into Poland begins. And when it happens, Warsaw is quickly taken. But Kaliningrad, though, is, not taken, as that's a fortress. Yeah. And with all these sites here, yeah, being completely surrounded by the Western Europeans, Romania will just surrender. And so will Moldova. And then the invasion of Ukraine will be beginning, as, they will be being pushed back greatly. But they will still be able to hold out in Scandinavia until the navy of Western Europe fails to protect the northern parts of the Baltics. Because, well, how are you protecting it? There's a lot here. And they will be losing it. Which, means these areas can be liberated. Why that area, though? Because a stalemate will be happening, as the Russians are mainly focused on their navy. But an amphibious landing, is that the right way to say that word, will be happening on Sweden, as a massive invasion will be happening, and Norway can be liberated. As the Western Europeans are definitely winning, the Eastern Europeans are thinking about surrender. But if you know my videos, that can't happen. In these scenarios, exactly, they can't happen. And, well, this is what the front lines look like. And then, an invasion into Lithuania begins, and, well, it goes very successfully, as, these countries are sort of weak. But then Russian defenses and offenses come, and they will be able to cut off this area, and, capture all these troops, which is very bad. Yeah. Ukraine, though, is, being pushed back greatly, as they will be losing Kyiv. Yeah. So, I guess Russia's now not invading Ukraine anymore. I guess they are invading Ukraine, as they will be attempting to invade Ukraine. Yeah. And they will actually be very successful, as the West is starting to, gaining hope, obviously, but they're still kind of surprised at this Russian pushback, definitely, as they will be able to push into Poland as well. And then the Russians will be making a big naval landing within the Black Sea, and it will take over all this area. And then, eventually, Ukraine is pretty much liberated at this point, and the Russians have just completely kicked the Western Europeans out of Ukraine. And, Russia is now going to decide to take all this area, as the Western Europeans are focusing on, the Baltic Sea. Yeah. The invasion of this area is still going very well, as Norway is completely liberated. And, Sweden is just gone, and Finland is being pushed into, and so is actual Russian land. As when they go down here and finish Finland, like that, a bunch of this area, this navy area, will become Western European, like that. And, Russia still can't surrender, even though they want to. And this peninsula is taken. As they will be pushing in, they will be able to take St. Petersburg, which, would cause the entirety of the navies of this area to surrender. Yeah. But then these areas will surrender navally. Yeah. And Russia has just lost all hope, as they will, be getting absolutely destroyed in Ukraine, and Caucasia, or at least the Caucasus area, is taken. Yeah. And then they will be losing all of the... Nope, not that much ground. Yeah, that much ground. As they will be losing all this area, and in White Russia, or Belarus, is taken, and so is Kaliningrad. Yeah. And as, it's Russia. Just Russia. As this lake will be surrounded, and a huge invasion of Russia happens, and it goes successfully, as eventually Moscow is taken, and and Russia officially surrendered, and they probably would have surrendered before, but I won't let them surrender until now. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario. See you in the next video, and bye!